You're tuned in to Stardom 100 Radio. Stardom 100 Radio.
What time is it?
With your host, Tanisha Davis. We're the show that's keeping it all the way 100 with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the heavenly orchestrated, never duplicated lyrical symphony known as the Eternal One Eternity, aka Mr. Everlasting, the lyrical assassin, and you are tuned into Stardom 100 Radio. Let's go.
Call security!
Yo, what's poppin'? It's the Young Lion, Sammy, and right now you're tuned in to Stardom 100 Radio. Keep it locked.
Turbulence is the price you pay for flying high. So whenever you're flying high, you're going to have some bumpy areas. That's why I want to admonish you to don't give up, but hang in there.
Y'all see what I'm talking about? Come on, Kierra Sheard, come help her. Everybody clap your hands. Kierra Sheard, make some noise. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Stardom 100 Radio. We kicking off this Saturday with a very nice interview talking to author Latoya Roberts, and she's going to be sharing some information with us about her recent book called The Victim Slayer. So we want you all to be sure to grab your notes because some information may be shared that can definitely help you out during your healing process. Latoya, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Tanisha. How are you?
I'm doing great. Oh,
It is
man.
an honor and pleasure
Thank
to be
you.
here with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Look, I've been looking at your book, and I'm so excited to talk about this book because just the title of The Victim Slayer, and it also has a little bit more information that's brought on in the book about overcoming your past and embracing your future. So before we get started, very briefly tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to write this book.
Okay. So my name is Latoya Roberts. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a minister. I'm an inspirational speaker. And I am the author of The Victim Slayer. The Victim Slayer, I took the title because the book is about changing your mindset from the victim mentality. Okay. So when I hear the word slayer, it killing comes to mind. And I don't want a person, or even myself, when I was going through my situations, I don't want to say, oh, I'm healed, I'm no longer a victim, I'm healed, and I really wasn't healed. I had to kill that mindset that I had of being a victim. Every time something came up in life, I went back to, woe is me again. So The Victim Slayer is the title because I want the mindset of a victim to be killed. No longer do you walk in the mindset of this thing happened to me, so that's why this is happening to me, or I can't do this because I'm afraid. When someone is a victim, they keep themselves locked up in a box, pretty much, and you can't unlock your full potential in life. I know firsthand. I struggled a long time with low self-esteem. I struggled a long time with unforgiveness and bitterness and trust issues because of what has happened to me as a child and the things that have happened to me even as an adult. And I realized that I'm not moving in life. I wasn't moving in life. I had so many goals and things I wanted to accomplish, but they were so far from reach because I still kept that victim feeling or that victim mentality of I'm afraid, I can't trust people, I can't forgive people. And I learned that is not going to do anything but hold you back.
Right.
That person that has done anything to you, that person that gave that trauma to you, that person or persons, they're not even thinking about you.
Right.
I've learned that, if you gave your power of life to that person, and they're not even thinking about you. So I had to start working on myself. And so that's where the whole victim slayer came from. And I've been wanting to write this book for years. I've started it for years while I was going through. I had to delete it. I had to erase it. Then my computer broke down. And that was reason for that, because now I know while I'm in a healed place or a place of healing, that I was writing out of a place of hurt and pain. And that is not going to help anybody. Being in a place of hurt and pain, me putting it on a piece of paper and trying to publish a book, which a lot of people does, is not going to do anything but tell people my story and incriminate those people that have hurt me. That's not helping anybody. So I had to wait until I was ready to face my fears, overcome my victim mentality, slay those demons, those things that still have me bound, those spirits of depression and unforgiveness and anxiety. The list goes on. I had to really stand up and make a choice in my mind to do that. And so that is where the Victim Slayer, the book, came from. It was birthed out of pain. It was birthed because I had so much trauma in my life. And I find that I went through a lot as a child. And I'm not the only one in this world that has gone through a lot. Sexual abuse, verbal abuse, betrayal by the family, loss of a mom.
Come on now.
I was 6 years old, loss of my grandmother, who was my second mother. The list goes on. And I knew that me being a person that has gone through so much, and God had allowed me, because of his strength, I learned to trust him, and I asked him to come into my life. I mean, that was the biggest thing for me, because I was at rock bottom. Suicide thoughts, I had them. Trying to take pills to end it all, I had those things. And I knew that the only way up from life, because I couldn't go any farther down than I already was. Let me try the God that my grandmother prayed on her knees. Let me try the God that the mothers of the church would bring me to the altar and say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I was in church as a child, but I did not know really God. I knew of him, but I thought being a Christian, to be honest, was like boring. Like, come on. Who wants to do this? Well, I mean, I didn't want to get into all of that until I became an adult, and I've gone through all that I've gone through, and I realized that God was with me the whole time. He was literally with me the whole time, bringing me through. Yes, I went through traumas. I went through tribulations. I went through divorce. I went through all of that, but God still kept me. And I'm alive today, insane mind, with a good career, beautiful children, wonderful husband.
Look at God.
Because of God.
That's how he works.
Only God can do that. So, I mean, I know I answered a lot more than what
hey, you did amazing, because it's good because you shared on some things that, especially when you talk about overcoming like your past, what people did to you and how they're not even thinking about you no more, but you can still be thinking about them. And I think that's something that a lot of people to this day, like, are still not healed from that, and I like that you shared about your childhood trauma and things that you went through, because I can recall a lot of, I grew up in foster care, so I had a lot of issues as well growing up, and one of the heaviest things was learning to forgive and let go of the things that had happened to me, and as an adult, like you said, to get to that place where you don't let that what went on when you were a child or whatever happened to you, let it make you, you know what I'm saying, to the point where you're like, I can't do this, I can't be successful, you know. I even thought at one point in time, there's no way I could get married because of some of the things that had happened to me, because, you know, growing up in church, you know about that you're supposed to wait till marriage and so forth like that. So I thought, because of some things that had took place in my childhood, there's no way I can get married, you know. So I love that you just brought these things out, because there's a lot of people that are listening to this and they're like, man, I gotta learn how to let those things go, you know, and not let it hold me back. So this is like very powerful.
Yeah. I just wanted to just bring something else up. When you don't allow healing or want to come up out of the victim mentality, you know, because you can't let go of the pain, you have to really work on it. You really have to. A lot of people struggle with demons that have talents that are anointed, that is like amazing, but because they have their own personal demons, especially from their childhood, because your child, what shapes you into an adult. So when things happen to you as a child, that is what builds your character and what makes you an adult. So if you had trauma in your life, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some issues as a child too, but it's going to go into your adulthood. And that's why we find a lot of people have lost their minds, or you know, I'm not mentioning any names of any, you know, but some people, you know, they pass away before we feel it's their time, because they had so much self-worth, because they have their own inner demons, because of things that go unresolved and unhealed as a child.
That's right. That's, you know, so true.
You know, and that's a lot. There's a lot of people, and that's another. I don't mean to cut you off, but I
no, you're fine.
I'm sorry, but there are a lot of people that I have come across that after I wrote the book and they started to share their story, there were people that I had no idea would ever had any issues as a child. I mean, these are people that have good jobs, good careers, that broke down crying over the phone or in person, like, you know what, this is what happened to me as a kid, and I can never get past that. That's serious. And I know I'm only one person, but my motive and my prayer is that people get this book. I was transparent for a reason. I didn't hold anything back, because I feel that there are people that can relate in some way, somehow, to the story that I share, my story that I shared, you know, and it's really to help someone else. You know, you can't preach about or speak about getting past trauma or getting past divorce or getting past verbal abuse or sexual abuse or whatever the case may be if you've never been through it.
That's right. Come on now.
You know, I don't want to hear from somebody that says, okay, don't do drugs because drugs is not good. Okay, have you ever been a drug addict?
Right.
Have you ever gone? Do you know how it feels? Can you tell me how to step through that and how to get past? If you've never gone through it, you can't tell me. It won't be authentic. It won't be something I'll be able to feel from you. I won't be able to receive it. And I felt being transparent. Let people know, listen, I've been there, I've done that, I've gone through that. I'm telling you my story to be transparent so you know that there is healing. There is a way. There is help. There is support. And so that is another little nugget, another reason why I decided to write this book.
Amen. Very positive message being delivered. In your book, I was watching a video where you shared how chapter 15, you said that was your favorite part of the book because it talked about being free and staying there. Why is that one of your favorites?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my favorite because after all the trauma and after everything that I've been through, being able to forgive, being able to trust, and these are things I had to learn, being able to love myself. You know, when you don't love yourself, you let anybody treat you any kind of way.
All right, that's
being
true.
able to value in myself and know who I am. Being free and staying there, chapter 15. I love that chapter because I'm free. I'm free. My mind has changed. The outlook of life has changed. Like I said, forgiving and loving myself properly, I was able to do, even in my personal hygiene. I mean, even doing my hair, you know, even, you know, wearing better clothes and looking good and feeling good. You know, I was able to have healthy relationships. I spoke about I had a divorce, you know, a nasty divorce. I got married very early to my first husband. But even like what you said, I didn't think that anybody would want me. I had 3 kids at the time, 3 small children. And I didn't think that I would even be worthy enough that someone would even want to spend the rest of their life with me and take care of my children as their own. And being free and letting go and not having baggage in my relationship, in my new relationship. That's what brought all this beautiful stuff together. I learned to trust others. I learned to trust men. I learned to trust, you know, my husband. You know, even at the beginning of the marriage, you know, I was very scared, like because there was a lot of adultery in my first marriage too, along with abuse. And so everywhere my husband went, okay, where are you? When are you coming back? I had to learn to trust him, and it was hard. And I saw that I was really giving him a hard time. And then when I realized it, and I thought I was healed from that, but I wasn't, because I was giving him a hard time, not being mean, but constantly wondering where he was. I asked God, okay, God, I know you're healing me, but I need you to help me in this area. I don't want my husband to stress. I don't want him to leave me, obviously. I want him to be comfortable. So God healed me in that. And he has, you know. So also, I allowed God to continue to help me through the process. I began a relationship, a real relationship with him. First of all, by asking him for his help and to come into my life. That is important, you know, because God, you know, free will. I mean, unless you ask him in, you know, you can't expect him to take over your life. You have to ask him in. And so he knows he knew me from before I was even born, before I was even formed in my mother's womb. He knew me before the egg even hit the sperm and which egg and sperm was. He knew all of that. He knew I would go through all that I've gone through. He was there for me. He knew who I would be today.
Yes.
You know, there were times I really thought I was going to die. Not because of just suicide, because, I felt the world was better off without me. But then also my blood pressure would rise sky high. I had anxiety sky high. I had palpitations. I would be at the doctor's offices. I would be a cardiologist, and they would all say, you're fine. Okay, but something wrong with me. It was my anxiety because I had so much going on, and I was not healed from my past. When my mom died when I was 6 years old, my mom was 34 years old when she died, and I was 6. I remember, I'm not going to even tell, you know, most of the book because I really want people to get the book. But I remember at the age of 32, I started getting scared. When I hit 33, when I hit 34, I literally thought that was my year, that I would not be here. Yes, I had children, but in my head, every day, I had the demons and negative speaking. Okay, you're going to die before you hit 35. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. I had that trauma. I was so afraid. When I hit 35, I said, I made it. I made it through that hook of 34. 36 came. 37 came. And, you know, and I'm still here.
Amen.
Nothing but God. So I wanted to go back. I was at my breaking point at one point. Before this chapter, before I started writing this chapter, and I know I needed real help. So that is, you know, where I had to call on God. Because like I said, I felt like I was so far down in a hole, there was no farther I can go. So like I said earlier, I decided to try the God that my grandmother was praying about. I decided to try the God that I went to church every single Sunday with my grandmother growing up. And they would pull me into the altar, or they would call me out and say, you know what? God is calling you. God wants to do something in your life. I never really received it or, really cared so much, but I decided to try that God. And to this day, he has never failed me. He has brought me through. He has helped me. He has changed my life. It all came from me changing my mindset and calling on God for help.
Wow.
So that's it. I mean, that is it.
And in healing, that's one of the things that people have to remember is that it takes God to really help you through it. When I was a teenager and the therapist asked me, how are you getting through this? How haven't you gotten on drugs or this, and she started listing so many things. And the first thing I told her, I said, I pray.
That's it.
And that's how you get through that. Prayer and having a relationship with God will get you through those things. Now you
go
ahead.
And the thing is, people have to understand when you pray, it's not like you have to be drawn out on your knees or lay
right.
Yes, yes, but you don't even have to do that. I pray on a daily basis all day. All day. When I wake up in the morning, I say, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you, Lord, for this day. And I'm praying throughout the day. And that's because I have a relationship with him. I talk to him like a friend because he is my friend.
Yes.
And, a lot of times people are strayed away from praying because they're like, they have this image in their head. They have to, get on their knees.
Exactly. You don't.
Make this whole, say this whole prayer. God don't need all of that.
Sure
yes, you can do that. But he doesn't need all of that.
Okay,
really
come on.
So that's another thing that I wanted to put out there,
And thank you for putting that out there.
I love you. I can't do anything without you. You're so awesome. You're so wonderful. Praise him and talk to him.
Yes.
He's listening.
Always.
Yeah.
Now, you are in the medical field. You are a nurse. How has working in the medical field helped you to better understand the process of healing inwardly? Because, you deal with a lot of outward healing, but how has that helped you understand that process?
Okay. So as a nurse, I know that you have to have a positive mindset to take care of a person. Having a positive mindset on the person, natural. A lot of times when you're negative and depression, all of that plays on your physical body as well. People that, like I go back to one thing, when you don't forgive, sometimes that can cause cancers, that can cause migraines, anxiety can cause heart attacks, that can cause strokes. So I know that as a nurse, you have to stay positive, and that helps with the healing process. So I stay positive in talking to my patients. I'm confident in what I do, and I gain the trust of the patient. That's the biggest thing. They have to be able to trust me that I'm going to do all that I can to help them get well. They see my genuine care and concern for them. So even if the situation doesn't go well, the patient is told the truth, and the patient and family can prepare themselves accordingly, emotionally and spiritually. I remember one time I had a patient, I'm not giving names or anything like that, but she had some unresolved issues with her daughter because her daughter had a baby at 15, and from then on, and the patient was in her 90s, but she remembered all of that. And before she got really, really sick, before she passed away, she confided in me and she told me that, she never treated her daughter right because she was very upset and could not forgive her and could not get past the fact that she had a child at 15.
Wow.
I spoke her because that's powerful. First of all, she's in her 90s. The woman was 15. She was already 60-something years old. And that is something that they've been dealing with forever. And the girl's child is in her 40s now. So I had to explain to her that she had to forgive her daughter. You know, that was so long ago. So I helped her with healing. I helped her with forgiving her daughter. And before she passed away, she was able to see her daughter and her granddaughter, embrace them. They came all the way from Virginia. I called them. They were able to embrace. They were able to cry. The mother was able to forgive and tell her, apologize, and tell her she was sorry for all those years, because the daughter had hurt and pain from her mother not treating her right, you know? And so the lady passed on, and I really felt good about that. That's what it's about.
Yes.
The woman would have passed on and had that, you know, that bitter and hatred and taken it to her grave. And then the daughter would have had that unresolved issues as well. And then it would have trickled down to the granddaughter, because the granddaughter didn't know why the grandmother wasn't as close to her as the other grandchildren. So that was a really big thing. I will never forget that. So, and I became a support for them, and I'm a support for all my patients and their families. I'm telling you, I could not do this. I could not help others. I could not tell anyone to learn to forgive and trust and let go if I still had hurt and pain in my heart. If I had bitterness and hatred in my heart, I could never do that, because I couldn't extend myself to these people. I love my profession, and because I am free, I can help others be free and let go of things that may hinder them.
Yes.
That's big.
I like that. You brought out something that that I've heard for a while, that certain things can cause cancer, and how you said anxieties can cause a stroke. So it's very important for people to like let go of stuff and to kind of just be stress free. You're like I've heard a number of people say that, and to hear you bring that out, I never knew, you know, how serious that was.
Yeah, anxiety can bring out heart attacks. It can bring out strokes. And did you know it can cause diabetes?
Wow. I did not know that.
Because of stress can rise. And you know what happens from diabetes, just like with all these other issues. Diabetes, you could have kidney problems, kidney failure. Your organs don't function well. With anxiety and heart attack, you could have heart blocks. You can have palpitations. You can have angina, which is chest pain. Oh, boy. There's a whole lot of things.
Oh, my goodness.
That can stem from just your emotional unwell, your emotional unrest. It can manifest in your physical body. And that's just a few things.
So,
I mean, I can go into a lot. I do speak about a lot in the book.
You just said, so I hope, oh my goodness, this going to help some people. Your book and this information that you just shared is going to help a whole lot of people, not just in 2021, but hopefully from this year, this day forward, to like really let go of stuff, because it can cause problems with your health.
Did you ever hear, I remember, people would say all the time when I was younger, stress kills. I never understood, but it really does. It really does.
My God.
I saw something on TV the other day, and it was about this guy. He got some bad news from a lady that said that she had a baby from him, and she told him that he did not. The baby wasn't his. The man had a heart attack. He's in a coma right now.
Wow.
See? I mean, so this thing is real. It's not just saying, "Oh, I'm healed. Oh, let me let it go." No, you really
need to heal. Wow.
If you want to live, if you want to live, if to add to your life, if you want to live, if you want to see your full potential. I mean, this is serious. You know, I had to learn that. My mom, like I said, she died when I was 34 years old, and all my life, my grandmother told me she died of stress. She died of stress. She had her own issues, things that was going on, you know. She had an abusive, my dad was pretty abusive to her and things like that. But I never understood what she died of stress meant until I became I got my own stress. And when I realized, I said, you know what, this is not going to be a cycle in my life, in my family's life.
Yes.
I got to do something.
Yes.
You know?
Man.
So.
Whew, I appreciate you sharing it. Because like I said, that's going to help a lot of people to just like really let go of some things and to heal. Cause you know, that's how you can find people that look real healthy. And then out of nowhere you hear they died or they had a heart attack or you like, how? And we're always thinking it's about what we're eating or maybe I need to exercise more, but you'll find people that eat good, exercise, and they'll have a heart attack.
And still, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Whew. All right. So, man, thank you for that information. What are some steps that you would say a person should start out with? You know, if they're trying to heal, what are the first steps that you think they should start out with?
Okay. The first step I would say is to accept that you have issues to work on.
Come on.
Accept it. Don't be in denial. Being in denial, you've already failed. You already failed. If you say, I don't have a problem, you feel like you don't have a problem, work on it. You have to accept that. You have to forgive those that hurt you. Those that traumatize you, those that have given you pain, you have to forgive them. And that is the hardest thing to do. But it's the most necessary and it is key. You have to forgive them. And as well as not just forgive them, but forgive yourself. When I say forgive yourself, I mean, I had to learn to forgive myself because I was locked up in a box for over 20-something years. Because when I was molested, I was only like 9 or 10 years old. So from the ages of 9 or 10 years old until I was in my late 20s, 30s, I really was not forgiving myself. I felt like it was my fault. And in the book you will read where I told my aunt, I told her not to tell anyone because he told me not to tell anybody that he would kill me. And my aunt went back and told him anyway.
Oh, my God.
And he back and told me. And pretty much my life, I felt like he was going to kill me any second he could because he still lived in that house. So a lot of things he did to me because he was pissed off with me about what I did. And I was hurt. I hated my aunt because I felt she betrayed me. So not on top of just the trauma, but the betrayal that I had from my aunt, I had to learn to forgive her, forgive myself for keeping myself in that box. I also had to understand that it wasn't my fault. Like I said, when children are molested or things happen to them, they feel like that's their fault, that they could have done, they did something to cause that, and you didn't do anything. He was just he was just a monster, or she was just a monster. You didn't do anything wrong. You were a child, and they're not supposed to look at us like that. Okay? But they do. So I had to seek counseling. My grandmother put me in numerous counseling group counseling and individual counseling. And even as an adult, I still had to go through counseling because I still had things that I just were unresolved. And I needed help navigating through life. I needed to sort out some issues because, like I said, the things that happened to me as a child, it fell over into my adulthood where I couldn't trust people. I had emotional instability. The biggest thing I had to do was find God, seek God.
Yes.
He was the key to the whole thing. So once I really asked God to help me, and like I said, it wasn't just lip service, it was really asking him really in my heart, and to not just be help me with parts of my life, but I needed him to help me with all of my life, every part. My cussing spirit I had because I was so angry with people. I was so angry, I had to go through anger management. I had to ask God to help me with that. I had to ask God, because I was promiscuous at a time. I had to ask God to help me with that. I yelled at my children, because I was angry and hurt, and hurt people hurt others.
Yes.
I had to ask God to help me with that. I was very abusive to my first husband verbally, as well as he was physically abusive to me, too. I had to ask God to help me with all of that in order for me to be a better person in who I am today. God had to do that. So I started to do affirmations because I had to learn to love myself. Yes. Loving myself was self-love is the best love. Yes. If you don't love yourself, how can others love you? How can you expect others to love you the way you need to be loved? So I had to learn, look in the mirror and love the person that looked back at me. You know, I thought I was ugly. I thought I was fat. I thought I was too skinny. I had so many things that I didn't like about myself. And that stems from because of, you know, all of the problems that I had growing up. But I had to see myself in a more positive and understand that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. God created a masterpiece. I had to understand that God is love and he loved me. And the only reason why I'm here is because of his love. So I also had to, you know, motivate myself because I didn't have people around me to motivate me. So I had to motivate myself, tell myself that I was beautiful, tell myself that I can do it. I bought a mirror, and I would write all kinds of positive things on the mirror in a marker. And I would do like colorful marker, you know, you're beautiful, you're pretty, I love your eyes, I love your lips, you are beautifully and wonderfully made, you are somebody, you will be a nurse one day, you won't, you know, continue to, you know, be a housekeeper or working as a secretary. And secretary is nothing wrong with that, but I always wanted to be a nurse. You will be a nurse one day. You will make it. You will be a good mother. You are a good mother. You are a good wife. You are a good... I had to write all those things down. And I found little scriptures to back it up. And every time I went into the bathroom, before I brushed my teeth and before I washed my face, I looked at those things. And as I looked at those things every day, they became, they started to sink into my spirit and into my heart. And I started to believe those things. I didn't need a man to tell me you look pretty. I knew I was. I didn't need nobody to validate me at that point because I knew God loved me. He placed me here. He is the ultimate love because I learned that from a relationship with him. But also I did my own motivation, my own affirmation. Because I wanted to be free. That's the thing. It has to start in your mind. You can't, you know, just like with weight loss. You know, if you want to lose weight, if somebody's losing weight and they say, oh, you lost 15 pounds, I lost 20 pounds, okay, I can do it too. But it ain't going to work unless I make the change in my head. The decision in my head that I want to lose weight, I'm not going to lose weight. So it's the same thing. I had to make the decision in my mind that I no longer wanted to be down. I no longer wanted to have a pity party. I was so tired of crying because this happened to me and I didn't have a mother and nobody loved me. I was so tired of going in a room crying and locking my kids in another room while I'm in the other room bawling my eyes out. Nobody's listening to me. Who cares if I'm crying? You know? But, you know, when these things happen to you, when you become a victim, yeah, you're going to cry. That's normal. You know? But the important part is to not stay there. Yes, it happened, you know, but after a while, you got to be able to get up and brush yourself off and say, okay, not what happened to me. And I need better. I need better for my family, better for myself. So,
that's, man, that's a, also, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, also inspirational books, too. There were some inspirational books that I read from different pastors. Even there was inspirational books that I read from different celebrities that found Christ that I looked up to, that I read, and I trusted what they said, and it helped me. And then also, for those that are out there, read my book, read Victim Slayer. It will change your life. Not only just the Victim Slayer will change your life, but other books as well.
Now, where can they get your book? How can they go and order your book?
Okay, so they can go on, I have a website, LatoyaRoberts.com. You could purchase the book from there. So you can just go straight to Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com as well to get the book. So you have 3 avenues to get the book. You can go to my website, www.latoyaroberts.com. So that's LATOYA, Roberts, all one word, ROBERTS.com. Or you can go to Amazon.com and put in Victim Slayer, VICTIMSLAYER, in the search box, and you can purchase the book as well by there. And also Barnes & Noble online. You can do the same thing. Put in Victim Slayer in the search box, and you can see the book there.
Wow. I'm looking forward to checking this book out for myself because I want to be able to share it with my friends and my family because I know a lot of people that really need to read this book. And I'm going to read it for myself too, just to make sure that there are areas that I have healed from because I'm not trying to face any kind of health conditions. But
right.
Latoya, you have shared like a whole lot of positive information today. Like, oh man, some things that I didn't even know but got confirmation on today. You shared it, and that's why this book is gonna be special. I know it's special. The Victim Slayer and overcoming your past and embracing your future. Do you have any other projects coming up?
So I do have another book in progress, the second book. I also have some speaking engagements coming up in the North Carolina. I'll be traveling to North Carolina soon. The date is to be announced, as well as I'll be going to Atlanta. Also, I have some engagements here in New Jersey, some churches. The events will be posted as they come on my website. Okay. So if anyone wants to keep up with me to find out where I'm going, all my bookings, it'll be on my website. Like I said, LatoyaRoberts.com. I also have some magazine interviews I'm preparing for. I also have my own talk show coming up.
Okay.
It's airing May 1st, 7 p.m. It's called Broken Masterpieces Restored, and I am going to be interviewing my first guest. She is amazing. She has a great story to tell. It's going to be live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, StreamYard, and Zoom. That is going to be May 1st at 7 p.m. And the show is called Broken Masterpieces Restored with Latoya Roberts.
Awesome. Well, Miss Latoya Roberts, again, thank you so much for the information that you shared today. And thank you for being a guest just to sit down and talk about your book with me today.
No problem. Also, I wanted to share, if anyone wanted to follow me, I have a fan page on Facebook. It's called Latoya Roberts. And also Instagram. It's LATOYA_R_1002.
Awesome. You all be sure to go follow Latoya Roberts and be sure to get a copy of her book, The Victim Slayer, Overcoming Your Past and Embracing Your Future. And thanks again for tuning in to Stardom 100 Radio. Be sure to follow us on all digital streaming platforms.